gentlemen, and welcome to DLP Nation. Today we are doing a continuation of
this is basically episode 2 of the YUYU HAKUSHO series review. We're doing ARK number 2, the 3 artifacts ARK.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it is episodes 6, 7, and 8. It's a very short 3-episode arc, but in this video will probably end up being it's probably gonna be about a 5-minute video, but we're gonna do like we did last one. But hey,
what are you doing? Got me.
Don't do the funny ears with me.
I'm not.
Okay.
Man. I'm just pointing the Tony.
bitch.
Or?
I say it love
I don't. I mean, I do.
He doesn't love you.
though.
He doesn't love you.
I do too.
Okay.
You're my
Alright,
brother.
anyway, first episode. I guess they gave each demon their own episode.
Yeah.
Basically, some of the arc is Yusuke's back in the world, and back in the regular human world where he's awake and everything. Well, he never left the human world, but he's alive. And it's introducing him as being a spirit detective. He's got new artifacts like the eyeglass thing, like the spirit scope.
Yeah. Where he can see through walls and clothes and
Yeah, and it's
see what's hiding and what's not.
And his newest case, and it started off with a teacher trying to like accuse him of stealing things.
Yeah.
And him being handling it like his old violent self, but Koenma stepped in.
Yeah.
But it's basically the 3 artifacts was stolen by these 3 demons: Kurama, Hiei, and Goki. The 3 artifacts was like some kind of ball that could steal souls. Then there was
mostly children.
Yeah, and then there was a sword that if it cuts you, you become a demon yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's another weapon which was some kind of mirror where if you wish, you give your life to make a wish and it automatically come true.
Yeah.
Because you have to trade a life for a life, or whatever I guess what it's called. But Yusuke, it's his very first mission as a spirit detective, and he has to get all these 3 back and defeat the demons, I guess.
Demon.
Yeah. So the first episode takes place with him fighting Goki.
Yeah.
Then the second one, I guess the second one takes care of the whole Kurama issue, and the 3rd episode takes it as him fighting Hiei.
Yeah.
So I guess the first and
it's episodes 6 through 8, by the way.
Yeah. So what do you got, Aaron? What do you think of the arc? What do you think of the first episode with him fighting Goki? Comparing it to your expectations so far.
Well, be honest, I knew it gave him a little challenge.
Yeah.
But he can end up figuring things out like Luffy does when he battles.
Yeah, like in One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece. So he has he can do stuff.
Oh, you're talking about like when he fought Goki and learned how that even though he has Goki when he transforms he becomes this like ogre looking thing.
Yeah.
And his skin's invulnerable to any kind of damage.
Right.
But Yusuke realized that if he shot a shotgun like a spirit gun in his mouth, it could damage his organs and defeat him that way.
Yeah.
And when he fought Hiei, he shot a spirit gun which when it missed Hiei hit the mirror and reflected it
back right at him in the
right.
back. Yeah.
I can see what you're saying because he's able to adapt to the situation at hand and learn to fight with it.
Yeah.
Okay. I like how they introduced Kurama.
Yeah.
Like, he's not evil, but he had an issue with his mother.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like that. Like, it shows that not all demons can be bad.
Yeah.
And it shows that, and it also showed that he's like the reincarnation of the fox spirit.
Yoko Kurama?
Yeah. And that was reborn as a human. And he's basically supposed to, recharge his spiritual energy over the 10 years.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And since he's been with these humans, his mother had a big effect on him in life. So he didn't want to be evil anymore, so he wanted to be good and help.
Which changed his outlook, and he became better, not as he didn't become as evil anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. What is your opinion so far?
It's not bad. The fighting is pretty good. I mean, what little is shown, it is really good. The story has gotten a little better. It's starting to make...
Well, me and Aaron talked about episode 6 and 7. We're going to save 8 for last because that one's the best one. 6 and 7 basically is Goki and Kurama. What parts of it stood out to you that you thought were pretty cool?
I mean, I respect Yusuke for the fact is that he was willing to do whatever it took to make sure that those kids were safe and their souls were back.
Yeah.
And I also respect him for making the noble sacrifice to save someone else's mother.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, not many anime does that much today. Like, all anime makes it like they're already good. While the one thing that I like about this is that you think he's bad at first, but he shows his good over time.
It's kind of like he slowly builds into it.
He slowly builds into it. Like, the thing is, like, most animes these days, they're already good. And it's like, oh, so we don't get to see how he's good.
I think he wasn't. I think he was good at first, but he was really rough and mean. But
Yeah.
he slow.
Like, he had a bad childhood.
But when he died, it gave him an appreciation for life in itself.
Yeah.
Like when he brought it up with Kurama's mom, and he's like, I don't want to see another mom go through the loss of her son.
Yeah.
Like Kurama's about to give his own life, so Yusuke is about to give his own, and I don't want to see a mother with the loss of her son because he already saw his mom do that when he died.
Right.
So he appreciates that kind of life now. But I like the fight between Yusuke and Goki.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was his very first demon enemy. Like he fought that thug and like when he to save the kitten, but this one was a genuine battle against a demon, like life or death.
Right.
The very first one, I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So now episode 8. What EA?
Ooh. Now that was a good one. Like,
yeah, I like the use of like Hiei try to grab Keiko and kidnap her.
yeah, and then he ends up like turning her into a demon with the sword.
Yeah, and then Yusuke's fight with him is pretty good. They
Yeah.
actually display what his possibilities can be.
Yeah.
And I also like how they let Kurama off the hook for good behavior.
Yeah. That was nice.
That was nice.
So Aaron, over this whole arc, and I like how they wrapped it up too. After he beat Goki, and then he didn't really fight Kurama. They had like a mutual respect for each other, kind of dissolved peacefully.
Yeah.
And after after Kurama's mom, after the wish, because Kurama made a wish for his mom to survive an illness because she was in the hospital, but she was about to die. And he made a wish that she would survive at the cost of his life. And that's when Yusuke stepped in and was like, hey, take my life instead, so that way a mother doesn't have to see doesn't have to mourn the loss of her son.
Yeah.
And then the mirror was like, because of your selfless deeds, I will grant your wishes, and there will be no death.
Yeah.
And they left peacefully. And then the ending of it, when he fought Hiei, he actually fought and beat him. Like that was an actual fight. And they wrapped it up. Kurama stepped in to help Yusuke fight Hiei a little bit. And then after Hiei was defeated after transforming this demon thing, Yusuke fought a spirit gun into the mirror, and then reflected and shot it back to Hiei because he was moving too quickly, and Yusuke couldn't hit him.
Yep.
And after that, basically, Keiko got an antidote from the hilt of the sword and was able to turn back to being regular human, and and Yusuke's first case was successful. And they did the whole successful end of ARK thing.
Yeah.
That's basically the sum up of the ARK.
We also forgot to mention that I can't remember her name.
Koenma?
The blue haired girl.
Oh, Botan.
Yeah, Botan. That she is now in the human world. And she has her own human body now.
Yeah,
she helped Yusuke.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you explain it, or do you want me to?
You know what? You go. Let's let Dustin.
Yeah, I've been talking.
Because me and you've been talking more than he has.
Yeah, Dustin, explain the whole thing with Botan.
Botan was afraid that Yusuke couldn't handle the challenge, and so she asked, was it Koenma?
Yeah, the baby.
She asked Koenma if, we're all going to mention, like, Koenma's the baby. He's the baby.
It's a baby.
He's a baby.
But Koenma gave him the challenge because, well, his dad was coming in a week, and if he hadn't have gotten the artifacts within a week, he would have destroyed the world, basically.
Yeah, and
just to get the artifacts.
Koenma's dad, his name is King Yama. But since we've talked about this arc.
Well, I haven't finished, and the reason why Botan is in her human form is so she can assist Yusuke and help him out through his journey, basically.
Basically, other cases.
Yeah. Any other cases that'll help him.
Oh, and don't forget, she also gave him that little ring
that'll power up his spirit gun
Yeah.
further.
That, and she also gave him a compass to look for.
Yeah,
to look for-
it was like a watch compass. Like,
Yeah.
it looked like a watch, but it was mostly.
We also forgot to mention
because
that
it can detect demons.
we've talked about spirit gun, but let's actually explain what it is. Back when the teacher was accusing of Yusuke of stealing things from the students in like episode 6, Yusuke was being called into the teacher's lounge office to be accused, and when they found out that the teacher actually stole the stuff himself and was trying to plan it and get Yusuke in trouble, Yusuke was like, I want to go hit him, and Koenma, the baby, stepped in and was like, stop, that you can use a secret way. So he taught him what's called the spirit gun.
The spirit gun, yeah.
It's when you channel all your spirit energy to the tip of your finger and fire it like a gun,
Yep.
which he can only do once a day
Yeah.
until he trains it more. But and overall, this whole arc, what number would you get from 1 to 10?
It was kind of short.
It was short.
I mean, it was.
I
only,
think it's funny how nobody was shocked that he was alive. Like everyone was like,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, well, yeah. Hey,
No.
it's
When you walk to the school, they're like,
It's a ghost.
"Who's that?"
That's it.
Oh God.
It's
And he's just like, "What are y'all looking at?"
I think how they think is since he was a thug and he faked his death to make everyone feel sorry for him. So I'm guessing that's why they kind of
but even the teacher himself, the one who cried at his funeral, didn't even show like he was shocked. I mean, like,
Yeah.
He just like first period
Well,
starting like 3 minutes back
they-
in class.
well, they might have already done it to where he showed up, and then they have that big thing and had an explanation. They probably there's
they did skip that from the manga probably.
Well, he probably got back to school, but they probably skipped it because they would have had to devote like almost half an episode of explaining to all the other main characters how he's alive.
Yeah.
Like Kuwabara, it's like he already knew he was there,
Right.
but he had to have gone to school because it would have made him already a big deal about it. But I guess they kind of skipped over it to save time.
Right.
But what number would you? Even though
It was short.
how about this? Before we give a number, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one part of the arc that you liked that was either better than the last one or that stood out to you in general that you liked about it? Enjoyed?
I really enjoyed the fighting, even though.
You know what?
Why you quit fucking
Continue.
with the mat? Anyways, like there wasn't really fighting in the first arc we were watching, besides the between the thugs that he fought, but since he was fighting more like demon enemies that were a little bit more powerful than him, it was kind of cool to see how he would handle a demon fight.
Right, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so how about you? Okay, now what was the one thing about the arc that you didn't like?
That I didn't like.
Yeah.
Probably it was short.
Well, if you think about it, I wouldn't say that's a dislike because if you would extend it, there'd be.
What are you doing, Siri?
Well,
that's you.
It's the rubber of the chair. I
Well,
put my thumb through it.
anyway. Anyway. Well, the reason why I was thinking of like it's not if you make it any longer, it'll just feel like it's dragging. Like the first arc was dragging, but each episode, if there's only 3 demons, each episode got their own demon. But I guess if you think about it, there's really not much else they could have done with it besides being 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess are you gonna keep that as your dislike?
Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Dustin? What was the one thing that stood out to you that you liked?
Just the noble deeds that Yusuke is starting to do. He's realizing that hey, life's too short to take things for granted, and I'm willing to make that sacrifice to make sure that everyone is safe and happy. Like,
Right.
That's one thing I respect about him as a character.
Well, how about the one thing you didn't like about the arc?
Guess there wasn't that much action, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, I guess
there wasn't. I mean, if you're trying to get, I mean, I know that this series isn't really heavy on his action, but
Oh, he doesn't even know yet.
No,
I know I don't know yet. So
I guess
I guess it's because there's more action, but I can't say that because there was still action.
they only focus on
I guess that I think the reason why I did less, they needed more explanations. Like What I mean by that, I think that's one main thing I dislike is like, oh, well, why isn't everyone shocked that he's back at school? Well, so you basically told me you skip that, and then, how, just a lot of things that just need explained, but they didn't explain. They're just like, okay, you should know this already. Like, they expect you to read the manga, I guess, if the manga even explained it. But
yeah, I can see that. Oh, well, one thing I liked about it was it showed more like what powers he's going to end up having, even though he's got a lot more.
Yeah.
But it was a taste of what powers he's going to have.
Right.
And it's also actually shows that the threat he's actually going to be facing as a spiritual detective is going to be very dangerous.
Right.
Like, it transitioned to a simple boy trying to get his body back to he's going to be fighting very powerful demons, life or death type of things. Like,
yeah.
He's going to be. Well, they also introduced a lot of new characters too.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say Botan's a new character, but it's a new characteristic of her to be in the human world now, because she's going to a school now. And I also like Kurama and Hiei because they're both so different and diverse, but they're mysterious. Goki's piece shit.
Now what's the new like about it though?
Well, the one thing I did not like about it though was the fact if Kuwabara was heavy in the first arc,
and he was just shown once.
he was shown one time in this arc.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been there, like, he could have, like, I would have liked it if Yusuke would have been, like, collapsed somewhere after the fight with Goki, and Kuwabara carried him, and, like, if he's supposed to be a major character, he should have been in at least more than once, like, because he was almost in every single episode of the first arc, but not at all in this one, at all. Especially when it's getting action-packed. But, Aaron, overall, what would you give it from a 1 to 10? Let him finish first.
A 9.5.
9.5 out of 10?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. How about you, Aaron? How about you, Dustin?
I guess I'll give it a 6.5. It's average. It's not. I mean, honestly, I'm not being mean about it. It's the fact that I kind of haven't seen it, and I'm.
Well, to be honest
it's in
with
the
you,
beginning. I can't blame them.
Well,
it's in the beginning.
To be honest with you, I'll probably give it a 5 out of 10. Reason why for that is because
it's average.
no, they came out of a very slow arc, going into a sub-slow arc. Even though it was a shorter arc, it still felt slow a little bit because they
kind of needed to step it up.
The thing is, though, if this was the arc that was supposed to grab you and saying, "Hey, he's fighting demons," but it was not really as epic as it could have been.
Yeah.
Especially with the fight with Hiei. But
yeah, it's honestly, I agree. It's just the fact that it should have. This was like the next step. It should be like, okay, how can we step this up? Which they did, sort of, but at the same time, it was still dragging.
the next arc that we're going to be watching is I think it's episode 9 through 13, I think.
I think so.
And it's
13.
Yeah, it's five episodes, and it's going to be the Genkai Psychic Tournament arc, where you actually have Yusuke entering a tournament of psychics and with people with different abilities, and the winner gets trained by Genkai. So, Aaron, what is your expectations going into the next arc?
He's gonna kick some ass. That's what
This arc right here is what lifts the show off, in my opinion. Because I remember watching the arc or reading it. It lifts the show off because this arc is what shows what action it can have.
Right.
Because in a short 5-episode span, it actually showed a lot of fighting constantly. It showed, I'm not going to say someone from the last few episodes joins Yusuke in this arc, which I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
And stays with him. And then you actually get to meet Genkai, the old hag.
Yeah.
But Yusuke has a funny relationship with her.
It's hilarious.
But it lifts off and this right here is what lifts it up. Because after that, you have the Saint Beasts and other things. But this one's what lifts it up. This is when it stops being slow. But how about you, Dustin? What's your expectations?
I'm kind of expecting more action. Just a little bit more explanation, a little bit more story.
Okay. Well, I've already gave mine just a second ago. So.
Yeah.
So I guess 9.5?
Yeah.
6.5 and 5. Well, is there any final thoughts, guys, about this arc?
No,
none at all.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Well, I guess this does it for the next episode 2. This is DLP Nation signing out.